Welcome back to another review by Mega Train Lover. Today we're having a look at a Bachmann model, as you can see, and this is a model which I got from my local model shop, which is Jane's Trains in Tooting, and it's a fairly old model, as you can tell from the packaging, but it was at such a good price that I could not resist it. And as you can tell from the picture, this is an LNER designed locomotive, and if you thought that, you are absolutely correct. This is an LNER K3 class locomotive. If we turn to the side, you'll see that the product code is 32276. It's a K3 number 61932, and it's in the British Railways lined black early emblem with the group standard tender, and it was indeed £65, which I think, considering the... Now I know this is an older model, but the thing is, you know, obviously this particular one was released, you know, quite a number of years ago now, but considering the fact that the recommended retail price for this is now above £100, I'm not entirely sure how much it is, but I'd imagine it's quite excessive now for what it is. You know, considering that, £65 is an absolute bargain for this model. You know, you basically nowadays you pay, you know, pretty much twice as much, but you're getting the same model. Because as you'll see, while it is a good model, it certainly doesn't live up to the standards of today. So the recommended retail price of about £120, £130 doesn't really do it justice. But anyway, we'll get onto the model in a bit. We'll talk a bit about the K3 class in real life. The locomotive, by the way, is not in the box. It's been taken out, DCC'd, running, etc. So, the K3 class started out in life as the Great Northern Railway H4 class, and in total there were 193 of them built between 1920 and 1937 to the design of Sir Nigel Gresley. Now originally they were known as the H4 class under the Great Northern Railway, but upon the grouping in 1923 the LNER started classifying them as the K3. And they were built, these were moguls, so they had a 260 wheel arrangement, and they were built for mixed traffic work. And the class was, they were nicknamed jazzers after the rhythm of their exhaust beat and the unbalanced gyratory movement. But they were, all in all, fairly reliable locomotives, and they survived right through LNER days into British Railways nationalisation. But they were all withdrawn between 1959 and 1962. Sadly, no members of the class have been preserved. This is despite the fact that there were almost 200 of them built. Of course, 193 built. Despite this, no members of the class have sadly been preserved. As far as I'm aware, there are currently no projects for a new build K3, which seems a bit of a shame, but you know, you've got to think about whether there is any need for such a locomotive. I mean, you know, we'd all love to see one running in real life, but you know, would there actually be any use for it? I'm sure there would, but yeah, I mean, it's up to the preservationists to answer that question. But thankfully we do at least have models to remember this long lost LNER class. Of course, several LNER class members have sadly been lost to time. The K3 is just one of a handful. But anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to put the box to one side. As mentioned, locomotive is not in the box, and I'm going to bring the loco here. So the engine is here, the tender is right here. We're going to have a look at the tender in a moment. Firstly, we're going to have a look at the engine. Wow. Well, what can I say? It's a very handsome looking locomotive. Not the greatest detail in the world, but I mean, for £65, fantastic. Anyway, let's start at the front. So it's got a very, very characteristic look of a Gresley designed engine. The headlights, I fitted them myself, and there's its number at the front if it focuses, 61932. You do get sprung buffers, which is a nice feature. The brake pipe at the front, I've fitted that myself as well. Here's the valve gear. The valve gear looks really nice. Of course, a little bit chunky, but that's typical with Bachmann models, even like older Bachmann models and stuff. But no, it's a very nice, nice looking set of valve gear. You can see you get some separately fitted detail, like the handrails that run along both sides. Also, the handrail on the front of the smoke box. That one's a separately fitted piece, and the sandbox. These are lubricators. They appear to be separately fitted as well. If we turn to the other side, you can see it's more or less the same, except on this side there doesn't seem to be any lubricators, which is pretty much prototypical. And you get the builder's plates, which are legible. Obviously, I can't really read them at the moment, but yeah, no, they are definitely legible. Livery, of course, is really, really nicely applied. You get the lined black livery. Some people will say, you know, it is quite basic, but that's how a BR livery is supposed to be. It's supposed to be quite basic, especially, you know, BR black. It's a very basic livery, but nonetheless, it is really, really nicely applied. You get the safety valve and the whistle. Both of them appear separately fitted. The cab roof vent, it doesn't move. And then again, this is, you know, bearing in mind, this is quite an old model. This is about, you know, 20-year-old tooling at least, maybe even older. And, you know, I can't really criticise it too much because I only paid £65 for this. Whereas the RRP is, you know, I think it's over £120. So, yeah. But I mean, it's not a bad model at all. It's actually a really nice model. The cab, it's not painted, but I can see that the detail is there. So you get like you get all the pipe work and stuff. But obviously, as you can see, it's not painted. If I do bring my phone along, I'll just put the flash on. There we go. So you can see the cab there. You do get the detail, but it's not painted. So obviously that signifies the fact that this is quite an old tooling. But yeah, that's just the way it is. You get the loco to tender coupling, which of course is very typical of Bachmann around this period. But yeah, so all in all, the engine looks quite nice. It's got a nice weight to it, so we'll have very little problems with traction. But yeah, all in all, it's a nice looking model. But we'll have a look at put the engine down, we'll have a look at the tender. The tender, as described on the box, is the group standard tender, and it's really nice. It does have a bit of weight to it, so it won't derail on the track. The coal load, it looks all right, but it is actually removable, like so. If you remove it, there is still a bit of coal right at the bottom of the I think that's the coal bunker. I think that's called a coal bunker, but I'm not entirely sure. But the good thing is that you can easily remove it, and you can fit your own coal in there, which is probably what I'm going to do eventually. But yeah, you get the British Railways early emblem. I do find the layout of the wheels quite unusual. Obviously it's prototypical, but it's still a bit unusual how the gap between the front and middle wheels is larger than the ones between the middle and the rear wheels. That's quite unusual, but obviously it's prototypical. You get sprung buffers on the back, and you also get NEM couplings on the back as well. The brake rigging is brake rigging, from what I can see. This was actually fitted by the previous owner. Now he did fit it a little bit shoddily, because from what I can see, these ones at the back, they do stick out quite a bit. So when I was reversing this over a set of points, it did catch on, but I will make some adjustments to that. But otherwise, obviously that's at no fault of Bachmann. That's just how the previous owner fitted it. I will try and remedy that. But no. So overall, it's a it's a very nice looking locomotive. But yeah, you know, for the price I paid for it, superb. But let's see how she performs. So here we have the Bachmann K3 on the track, and what we're going to do is we're going to select its number and watch her go. There she goes. Wow, considering the age of the model, beautiful runner. Wow, honestly, can't hear the motor. Yeah, beautiful, very smooth. Let's get a few shots of her passing. Yeah, all in all, really nice performing model. Yeah, not much else to say really. So just to conclude this video, if you can get one of these models for a good price, for the price I paid for, which is £65, I definitely recommend it. But would I recommend paying RRP for this? No. It's a good model, but it's not the most detailed in the world, and the current RRP does not justify, you know, it's not really justified, because the detail on it is good, but it's not up to modern standards. It's a bit cheeky of Bachmann to sell it at over 120 quid, when this is probably worth in the kind of 65 to 80 range. But having said that, it's still a good model. You know, for £65, fantastic model. Really, really nice. Very nice runner, and overall it looks really presentable. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and I shall see you in the next review. Goodbye.